welcome to 7 p.m. Beginner's Yoga on this Monday evening on August 3rd, coming at you live from the University District in Seattle, Washington, from the Hatha Yoga Center. My name is Chris, and this is a beginner's class, so we'll just kind of do a nice, well-rounded class this evening. And so I think tonight I'd like to start on our back. So finding a place where you can stretch out for a moment, bringing your body into corpse pose or shavasana, which we normally think of as our final resting pose, but just bringing your body into this relationship with gravity on your back, letting yourself surrender the weight of your body, and allowing yourself to be heavy for just a few moments, and beginning to bring your awareness to your breath before we begin to move. So starting our practice this evening with a relaxed body and with a nice, conscious, deeper, relaxed breath. So allow the front of your chest to be wide. You could even kind of tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. Let the backs of your hands come to the floor, and just kind of let your legs relax, and you can feel different points of contact with floor, your sacrum, your lower back, the shoulder blades, the back of the rib cage. See if you can allow the rib cage to soften and release even further into the floor. So not just the top part of the rib cage, but maybe the lower ribs, the back of your lower ribs can soften and release further. Feel the backs of your pelvis, back of your pelvis, your buttocks, your calves and hamstrings against the floor, your heels, and the heaviness of your head. So just allowing your head to release. Your neck doesn't need to work to hold the head up in this position, so just take advantage of that, and you can kind of feel the weight of your head. And relax your jaw, and just tune into the breath. So noticing how your body reshapes itself with the inhale and the exhale. With each breath, there's a change in the shape of your body. And the rib cage expands with the inhale and contracts a bit with the exhale. And you probably feel your belly moving as well. So just taking 2 or 3 more breaths here in your relaxed body. And feeling your chest rise and fall. And then just draw your knees into your chest. You could reach behind your knees and just rock a little bit from side to side. Kind of rocking around, feeling your low back, rounding a bit. And breathing into that shape. And then bringing your feet down to the floor. And your hands, just bring your hands by your sides, palms facing down, and then roll up into bridge pose, lifting your hips, bringing the arms up as you do that. Up overhead, the backs of the hands come to the floor, and then just roll down really slowly, unfurling your spine. Exhale, inhale, lifting up, and exhale, rolling down. 1 vertebrae at a time, just kind of slowly placing the vertebrae down on the floor. Just doing that like 2 more times. Lifting up, bringing the arms up, backs of the hands to the floor, keeping that little curve of your neck there. So untuck your chin a bit. And then on this last one, just pause at the top and just hold your hips up for a moment. Relax the shoulders and take a couple of breaths here, pressing up a little higher using the muscles in your legs and your hips and buttocks. And then just rolling down slowly. And draw the knees in again. And just rocking a little bit from side to side. And then bring your left foot to the floor and extend your right leg up. And you could bring your hands back behind your thigh if that's comfortable, and just circle your foot, circle your ankle joint around and around in one direction, and then in the other, circling in the opposite direction. You can move your toes as you do that. And then extending your leg up. I'm going to scoot over a little bit. Extending the leg up, and point your toe and flex your foot a couple of times. Pointing and flexing, feeling your calf muscles awakening and the muscles around the shin. And then you could release your arms out to the sides and start circling that foot around, keeping your sacrum on the floor, so using the muscles in your core to help support you as you move your leg. Circling, making the circles a little bit bigger. And then back the circles up, going in the opposite direction, just feeling the movement of the femur. The head of your femur is rotating around inside your pelvis to make these circles. And it's being controlled with some of your core muscles. If you just completely relaxed all of that, your leg you would not have the control. And then draw your knee into your chest and just kind of move it around, just feeling into the deep fold at the front of the hip. And then let that foot, the right foot, come to the floor and extend your left leg up. You could reach back behind your thigh and start circling that ankle. You can move the toes as you do that, and then switching the directions of the circles. Just feeling through that range of motion you have. And then point and flex your foot. Point your toes and flex at the ankle joint. So you're moving your toes and you're moving the ankle. And then releasing your arms out to the sides, begin to circle that leg around in one direction. Again, feeling your core muscles engaging to help support you as you make those movements, making the circles bigger. Try to relax your upper body, and then reversing the direction of the circles. Go slow. If you have any popping or clicking, slow it down or make the circle smaller. And then coming back to center and draw that knee in towards the chest and just moving it around a little bit, feeling into the deep fold front of your hip. And then bringing your arms out to the sides and your legs up. Actually, let's grab a strap. Hopefully you have one handy. So you might have a yoga strap, or maybe you have a belt or something you could use in place of that. Let's extend the right leg up. You can start with your left knee bent and flexing your foot, using the strap as an extension of your arms so that you can keep your shoulders relaxed and your upper back on the floor. And pressing the tailbone back towards the floor so that you're not rounding up in your lower back. And so using the strap to help bring some stretch into the back of the leg, flexing the foot pretty strongly, and just drawing that leg in towards you, breathing. Nice steady breath, just feeling the stretch in the back of the leg, the calf muscles behind the knee, all the way up into the hamstrings. And then taking the strap in your right hand You can bring your left arm out to the side for counterbalance. Even let your left knee drop out to the side. And then just bring your right foot over towards the right and stretch into the inner thigh muscles. Keeping your lower back pinned on the floor. So you're just moving the leg. You're not lifting the pelvis up. You're keeping it pinned to the floor. Breathing. So find your nice steady breath. And you're flexing your foot. Let your chest be really open with the breath so that you can feel your chest moving with the breath. And then bringing that foot back up, you could extend your left leg, maybe enlivening it a bit by pressing through the heel. And then taking the strap into the left hand and the right arm out to the side, bringing your leg over towards the left, but keeping your sacrum pinned on the floor. You could also take your thumb into the crease of your right hip and kind of draw that down. Keep pressing your lower back down so you're not lifting it up yet. And then you might let that leg come over further, and then you'll need to allow your lower back to lift up. You can bring the foot all the way over, or maybe you're just keeping it slightly lifted to keep your shoulder on the floor, and maybe looking back over the right shoulder. Still drawing this right hip down. You could even take your thumb again into the hip crease and draw it down. Finding your steady breath, in and out through the nose. So you're feeling the twist. And then bringing the foot back up and taking a breath there. Then bend your left knee and take the strap out and bring the sole of your right foot to the floor and the strap underneath the left foot. And so just breathing, let your shoulders relax, find the breath as you draw that leg back towards you without rolling up in your low back or lifting it up. So press your tailbone back down towards the floor. And you might feel like you don't get to bring your leg quite as far towards you, but that's okay. There's no glory in bringing it really any further. It's more about keeping your alignment with your spine and your breath and your free and deep breathing. So keeping a neutral spine. And it helps to be on your back on the floor because you can feel your back, you can feel your spine against the floor. There's a little bit of a feeling of the curve of your lumbar spine. Not too arched, not rounded, just in a neutral position. Nice steady breath. And then taking the strap into the left hand, you could bring your right arm out to the side and let your right knee drop open as you bring your left foot out towards the left, opening up into the inner thigh muscles. Keeping the sacrum on the floor, breathing. Nice steady breath. Letting your breath be your guide through your practice. So if you feel yourself kind of holding the breath at all, back off on the pose a little bit and reassert your breath, and then move into the pose with your breath steady and strong and relaxed, powerful. And then bringing that leg back up. Take the strap over into your right hand, extend your left leg. And then we'll bring the left foot over towards the right. So you might take your thumb again into the hip crease, keeping your sacrum pinned to the floor, bringing the foot over until you can't go any further. You'll feel that kind of in the outer thigh, the lateral part of your thigh. Lengthening down through the left side of your torso. And breathing. And then bringing that leg over further, maybe extending your left arm and looking back over your left shoulder, breathing. Again, you can also take your thumb here and kind of draw the hip down. If you feel any pinching in the front of the hip, just kind of make some space there so you don't need to come as deep into the twist with your leg. Feeling the breath. Try to relax the shoulders, using the strength of your arms to hold or of your right arm to hold the strap, and then bringing that leg back up for a breath or two. And then bending the right knee and releasing the strap. You can just set the strap off to the side. Bringing your arms out to the sides and bringing the legs up now and going from side to side. So keep the sacrum on the floor so you're controlling this movement with the center of your body, with your core muscles, the obliques, and the transversus abdominis muscles. Side to side, so one foot kind of slides down the inner ankle of the other. The feet are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Keep on going. You'll start to feel you're waking up those muscles in your belly and in your core. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. And then draw the knees in. And we'll do some leg downs, so starting with one leg at a time. Just turning your toes out, heels together, and we'll inhale the right heel towards the floor, hover, pressing tailbone down, exhale back up. Inhale the left heel towards the floor, lengthening your belly, pressing tailbone down, exhale back up, and like that, side to side. So really lengthening the belly, pressing tailbone towards the floor, so you're keeping that engagement in your core, moving with the breath, keep going. One leg at a time. The next time you inhale your right heel towards the floor, hold it out, hovering above the floor, and breathe. Take a couple breaths, trying not to let the belly pop up. Keeping the upper body relaxed, and then bringing that leg back up. And then we'll do it with the left leg. Inhale the heel towards the floor and just extend through the heel, lengthening the belly, keeping the belly from popping up, breathing here, relaxing your shoulders. And then letting the foot come back up. Draw the knees in, just letting it go. And then we'll do a couple leg downs with both legs, so keeping heels together. You might, if you're at home and you have a ball, you might want to take your ball and put it underneath your sacrum and do your leg downs, your double leg downs with the ball. Makes it a little bit easier to keep things kind of the alignment. So inhaling down, the heels towards the floor, pressing tailbone into the ball, exhale back up. Just keep going a few more times. You're starting to probably feel some warmth in the core and your belly muscles. And let's do 2 more of these. And on the last one, let's hold the legs out for a couple breaths. And you can be doing this on the floor with no ball or with the ball under the sacrum. And then draw the knees in. And just pause for a moment. If you have the ball, you can take the ball out and bring it in between your thighs. If you don't have a ball, it's fine. You can just come up without the ball. But if you have the ball, squeeze your thighs together and hold the ball there and tuck the shoulders underneath. So you're in a supported bridge pose. And then try lengthening out your left leg, still squeezing the ball, keeping the hips level. Breathing. And then bring that foot down. Rearrange yourself a little bit. And lift the opposite, your right leg. Squeezing the ball. Breathing. And release that foot. Release your hands, slowly rolling down. And then one more piece of core work here. Bring the ball in between your feet. And so in between the ankles. Let your feet go side to side. So you may choose to go like we did before, where you're not really lifting up your sacrum, or you may take it further. So choosing. So going side to side slowly and consciously. With the ball there. The next time your feet come over towards the left, you might swing the hips over to the right a bit and hold the ball. If it's too much, put the ball in between your knees. And just another breath there. Bringing the legs back up. Then we'll swing the hips over towards the left. And the feet come over towards the right, squeezing the ball. Or between the knees works just as well. Keeping your shoulders on the floor. Breathing. And then bringing the ball back up to center and releasing it. We'll just set it off to the side. We might come back to it later. And let's come up to a seated position. Actually, I just landed in this position, bringing this knee of your right knee into the sole of your left foot. Just taking kind of an easy twist, not too deep. Lifting the heart, lifting up through the crown of the head. And then turning back. And then switching, bringing the left knee into the sole of the right foot. And turning. And lifting up, drawing the belly in. Taking a little twist, turning back. Let's come to hands and knees on our mat. I'm going to bring this up a little bit higher here. So coming to hands and knees. And spreading your hands. Bringing your shoulders right over the wrists, your pelvis over the knees, and starting your cat-cow, rounding your spine, exhaling, lifting the navel towards the spine, tipping your pelvis, inhale, let the belly drop, and exhale, rounding, so moving between cat and cow stretches. Feeling all the little segments of your spine moving fluidly and individually together. And then tuck the toes. This time as you round into your cat, draw your heels back, your hips back towards your heels, stretching the bottoms of the feet, and then coming forward and into your cow, and then rounding and drawing the hips back towards the heels, and then coming forward, arching one more time, tuck your toes, round, draw your hips back towards your heels, and then coming forward. This time with your toes untucked, drawing the hips back, coming into child's pose, breathing into your back. You can have your knees a little bit wide, or you can have them closer together, but letting your forehead come to the floor, relaxing the neck, breathing, feeling that deep fold at the front of the hips. And then coming up again. And walk your hands back. Let's come up to the knees, to a kneeling position. And bring your arms out to the sides. I'm actually going to turn this way. Bring your arms out to the sides. Step your right foot forward. Let your arms come up. So you're in a lunge. And take a breath here. And then bring your hand to the floor, coming into a twist. Opening up the chest. Breathing. Keeping the chest open and the head leaning back. And then using your strong core, coming back up. Inhale up. Bringing the arms out. Step the right foot back. And we'll step the left foot forward. Let the arms come up. Softening your shoulders, but still reaching. So the weight is balanced over the right knee. And then exhale, bring the right hand down, coming into a twist, like we did on the other side. And come to your fingertips or to the floor. You might want to block under your hand. Breathing. In the neck long. And then think about how you're going to come back up. Use your core muscles. Lengthen your arms back up. Bring the arms out to the side. Step that knee in. I'm actually going to turn the mat this way because I'm going to do a couple more things like that. So, arms out to the sides. Stepping your right foot forward again. This time, tuck your back toes and come up into Warrior One with the back knee bent. So you're keeping this neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Find your gaze, find your breath. This time, taking your twist, bringing the left hand down, opening up into the twist. Reaching back strongly through your left heel, letting the head come back, open the chest. And then, again, you're going to use your strong legs. Coming back up to Warrior One, bringing the left knee down, untuck the toes, bring the weight back over the left knee, bring your arms out to the sides, step that foot in, then we'll step the left foot forward. Arms come up, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, coming into Warrior One, finding the breath, keeping the hips square. And then exhale, bring your right hand down, reach back strongly through your right heel, opening up into the twist. And then using your core and your strong legs to come back up to Warrior One. It's not an easy transition. Letting your right knee come down, untuck the toes, step your left foot back. Your arms out to the sides. Let's step the right foot forward. So just watching yourself through the transitions. And then bring your hands to your knee, kind of pressing onto the knee and lifting the heart. Finding your steady breath, steady gaze. And then you might come a little deeper. Maybe the hand comes to the floor or to a block. You could even move a little bit forward so that you're bringing the stretch into the back of your right calf. If that feels okay on the knee. Also a deeper stretch at the front of the left hip. Nice steady breath there. I'm going to switch the orientation of my mat here. And then maybe you can reach back for the foot, for your left foot with your right hand. Maybe turning to look back, so you're in a twist. Trying to keep the sole of the right foot on the floor. Releasing that. And bringing your weight back and up again. Arms out to the sides. Step the right foot in. Step the left foot forward. Try to make those transitions smooth. Bringing the hands to the knee. Coming a little deeper. Relax the shoulders. Lift the heart. Nice steady breath. Finding your gaze. And then from there, Maybe coming a little bit forward with your knee like we did on the other side so that you're getting some stretch in the back of your left calf and deeply in the front of your right hip. Then bringing your weight back, and maybe you can reach back for the foot like you did on the other side. If you can't reach the foot, then maybe you're just coming into the twist like this. If you can reach the foot, you might be able to get a little bit of more of a quad stretch. You can even bring the heel in towards the buttock. And release that. Bringing your weight back, arms out to the sides, stepping in. And then let's come back to hands and knees again. Do a couple of cat-cows, rounding the spine. Exhale, and then inhale, arching. Exhale, round, lift belly. You can come up onto your fingertips. Really stretch into your upper back. And then back to the arched spine, into the extension of your spine. Again, this time make your knees pretty wide, like the width of the mat, and bring your hips back. Coming into your child's pose, bringing your forehead down to the floor, finding the breath, lengthening the spine, feeling the deep fold in front of the hips, breathing into the back of your body, breathing into the back of the rib cage, just kind of feeling the inflation of the back of your body with the inhale. And then coming up to hands and knees again. Finding your tabletop position, reach back through the left foot. Tucking your toes and kind of maybe rocking a little bit into the ankle. Lift the belly. Maybe stretching, kind of pressing into your hands and stretching back into the calf a bit, into the back of the knee. Nice steady breath. Keep the head from dropping, so just keep it lifted. And then letting that leg float up. The toes are pointing straight down. Your sacrum is staying level. Maybe reaching forward with the right hand, right arm. Taking a few breaths here in tiger pose. You could try lifting the top of your right foot off the floor to make it a little more challenging for the balance. You don't have to lift it high. You could. Might feel better not to do that with your knee though. Release it. Circling the hips in one direction and the other. Just making your own shapes with your body. Coming back to hands and knees. This time we'll reach back with the right foot, tuck your toes. Rocking a little bit into the ankle, into the back of the leg. Keeping the head lifted. And then letting that leg float up, pressing back through the heel, toes pointing straight down, letting your left arm come forward, thumb pointing up, and maybe you're lifting the top of your left foot off the floor, which makes it harder. Nice steady breath, finding something to gaze at. Keeping the neck long, and releasing. And again, just making circles with the hips. And coming back to hands and knees, tuck your toes again. This time come into prayer. So keeping the hips high. And then spreading your hands shoulder width, lifting your hips, coming into downward facing dog. And just bending into one knee and the other. Maybe dipping your chest a little as you do that. So then lifting the hips, bending the knees, wrapping the elbows in and lengthening up. You might be able to step your right foot up and over the left foot, lifting the right hip. Keep reaching through both hands, wrapping the elbows in. So you're separating the pelvis from the rib cage. And And then back through center, stepping left foot up and over, bringing the sole of the left foot to the floor. You might lift your right heel or try to gently let it come back down, lifting your left hip away from the rib cage, lengthening the waistline, and then back to center. And then come forward into plank pose, keeping your head lifted as you come forward. So a long line from the crown of the head all the way back through your heels. And then let your knees come down all the way onto your belly with your elbows by your sides, bringing your forearms forward. Just a little, elbows a little bit in front of the shoulders, kind of pulling the belly forward, opening the chest. This is Sphinx pose. Letting your hands spread and relax on the floor. Just taking a couple breaths. You can lift the belly and kind of point your tailbone down towards your heels so you're lengthening in the lower back and taking some of the compression out of your low back. And then maybe let your arms come slowly forward, bringing the forehead down. And then from here, sweeping the arms back, clasping your hands at your sacrum, rolling up, lifting the toes, coming into locust pose, finding the breath. Maybe a little side to side with the upper body. And back to center. And one more breath here, lifting a little higher, and then release, just making a little shelf and rocking your hips. Breathe into your belly, let your back relax. And then let's bend your knees, keep your heels together and lift the thighs up off the floor. You can just keep your arms down like this. So you're not really lifting up high in the upper body, but lifting the thighs up, then extending and bending the knees. Extending and bending the knees. One more time. And then extend and release. Try bringing your legs right next to each other. And try spreading the tops of your feet so that the whole top of the foot is touching the floor. And then bring your arms back, clasp your hands, and come up, just keeping your legs like that. Try to keep the tops of your feet on the floor. And then maybe you could roll to one side, letting your shoulder blades slide. Rolling back through center, onto the other side. And back to center. Releasing, again, rocking a little bit. The hips, letting it go. And then you could try reaching for your left foot. Maybe coming up onto the forearm. You can also spin your hand. So you're stretching into the quads in front of the thigh. Drawing the heel towards the buttock. If you can't quite get it that hand to spin, that's fine. Just reaching for the foot. If that's too much, then standing and reaching for your foot. Trying not to sag down into the right shoulder, so press into the floor and lift up, releasing that side, and then we'll do the other side, reaching back with the right foot, trying to get some stretch in the quads, maybe spinning the fingers over the top of the foot. You'll feel it in your shoulder as well. Drawing the heel towards the buttock, keeping the knee pretty straight there, we're not trying to twist it at all. And and then release it. And let's slowly make our way back up to downward dog, keeping your elbows by your sides, tucking your toes, and lifting back up, lifting the hips, just moving a little bit. Breathing, wrapping the elbows in, lengthening the hips up, letting the shoulder blades slide. And then letting your knees come down. Walking the hands back in, coming back up to your knees again. This time, bring your hands back to the sacrum and lengthen up. So this is camel pose. So it's less about arching the back and dropping back and more about pressing into your sacrum and lengthening up, making a big arch with your back. Throwing the belly in, maybe lifting the gaze. You can keep your chin tucked, or if it feels safe or okay for your neck, you can also let your head come back. As long as you can breathe and swallow. And then release it. Just sitting back down for a moment. In this position called Hero's Pose, Virasana, taking a little twist. So watch for your back to arch. Instead, just find your neutral spine and turn, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Belly draws in, turning in the opposite direction. And then turning forward, coming back up to your knees. Arms out to the sides. Stepping your right foot forward. Tucking your back toes, coming up. And let's turn. So we'll be sideways on the mat. And we'll come forward into a forward bend. So you can use a block if you need to under your hands. Let's bend into one knee and the other, just moving your shoulders and your elbows. Just feeling into those joints. And then try walking your hands forward. You could be on fingertips, so you're in kind of a wide-legged downward dog type position, kind of puffing up under your armpits, scooping up, feeling the arches of your hands, scooping up as well, your belly lifting. And then walk the hands back in and over towards the left foot or lower leg, releasing your neck. Keep drawing your right hip back so you're feeling this length all the way up the right side of your torso and your arm. Lifting the tail a bit. Bringing some weight kind of forward if you can, so you're not back in the heels. And then walking hands over towards the right ankle or lower leg. Nice steady breath here. Again, drawing your left hip back, and then hands to center. And heel toe your feet in a bit. And let's come into like a kind of a sumo squat. So bring your hands onto the inner thighs, pressing your knees open. Your toes are kind of, your knees are tracking over the toes, which are turned out. You could do a little bit of cat-cow, just a little bit of movement of the pelvis. Finding the neutral place, and then dipping one shoulder and coming into a little bit of a twist. We call this Ichiro here. And then over to the other side. Pressing your inner thighs open with your hands. Side to side one more time. And then back to center. And again, release, coming into the forward bend. You could just move a little bit, easy. And then maybe turn the hands and stretch the wrists a little bit, if you can. Again, using blocks works. Just feeling into the forearms and the fingers and the hands, palms of the hands. And then let's turn towards the right foot. We'll come into a pyramid position. So stepping your feet hip width, the toes of your left foot are angling out towards the edge of the mat. You might be up here to keep this long spine. Drawing the right hip back, opening the chest. Feeling your feet on the floor. Taking some weight out of your left hand. And releasing. And just pause here in this pyramid position, which is a straight, long, neutral spine and straight legs. And then from here, bend into your right knee and lift up your left leg. So you're now in a warrior three position with fingertips on the floor. See if you can spread your wings. So coming into warrior three with the arms out to the sides. Pressing back strongly through your left heel. And then releasing the hands and stepping the foot back to pyramid. And then turning again into the wide-legged forward bend. Just moving a little bit. You might bring your arms behind and clasp the hands and stretch into the shoulders. And then from there, we'll turn towards the opposite, towards the left foot, stepping the right foot out a little bit. Toes are angled out towards the edge of the mat. Again, you might be up here or on a block, but finding the long, neutral spine. So you kind of have to draw the left hip back. Even as the sole of the left foot stays firmly planted on the floor. Find your steady breath. And then we'll twist it. So right hand can be on the floor, on a block. And we'll open the chest. Coming into this revolved triangle. Make sure you're not leaning forward. So opening the chest and also letting the head come back. You might look up. Look straight ahead, or even down, but keep your neck long, so you're not dropping the head. It just hurts the neck. So feeling your feet really firmly planted on the floor. Then releasing, and pause for a moment, back in this pyramid position. Then bending into the left knee. Lifting the right leg, toes of your right foot pointing down. And then we'll lift arms out to the sides. So coming into this warrior three. Pose with arms out to the sides. And if, like me, you're struggling with your balance, just keep coming back to it as you can. And releasing the hands and stepping back. Balance can be really different from day to day, from practice to practice. And then we'll turn back, coming into this wide-legged forward bend, bending into your knees, letting your shoulders and your elbows move. And then back to center. Pause for a moment. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up. Just got a little, my battery is just a little bit compromised tonight. I think it's gonna last. I hope so. Let's come into this wide-legged stance and then press out through your hands like you're pressing two walls away from you. So kind of drawing your shoulder blades together even as you press out. Finding the breath. And then release the arms, bending the knees, coming into this horse pose. Inhale the arms up. So you're sitting straight down. Exhale down. Coming a little deeper, inhaling the arms up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Finding your breath and your gaze, staying with it. Strong legs. Let's say 3 more. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the arms down. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale. And then straighten your legs. Coming forward again. One more time into the forward bend. And then coming down, and let's come into frog pose from there. So making the knees wide. You could bring the soles of the feet together and finding the kind of just the right place for your pelvis, centered in between the knees. Keeping the spine long. Breathing. Feeling the pelvis here, feeling all of the muscles that help support your pelvis. The strong muscles of your inner thighs, stretching. Keep breathing. And then just coming forward onto the belly and bring the knees together and let your feet go side to side. You can lift the hips up, just kind of windshield wipering your lower legs. And releasing that. Just resting on your belly for a moment, taking a couple of breaths. Breathing into your belly, just bringing your heart rate back down. And then hands underneath the shoulders, and coming back up to hands and knees again. This time, let's lift the left leg up. So keeping the hips and shoulders square, but reaching back with your right hand for the left ankle. So you're not opening hips, you're keeping things square. And taking a few breaths there. It's a little bit of a balancing pose. You could try, if you really want to make it harder, lift the top of your right foot off the floor. Then release it. And just circle it out. And then finding your tabletop, we'll lift the right foot up. Reach back for that ankle or top of the foot with the left hand, keeping your hips and shoulders square, breathing. And release that, circling a bit. And then coming back to your tabletop, let's lift the right hand up and open up the chest and tuck that right arm through, coming into this little bit of a twist, feeling into the back of your shoulders, breathing, lifting the belly and the tail. Another breath there. Then walk your left hand back in and help press yourself back up. And this time we'll lift the left arm up and tuck through. Reaching forward with the right arm, coming on to rest on the back of your left shoulder. Breathing. Kind of wrapping your right elbow in. One more breath here. Walking your right hand back, using it to help you come back to hands and knees. Let's come onto the belly again. And bring your left arm out. Just a little hand, a little below the shoulder. And then we'll just roll. You can kind of touch the toe to the floor there, or bring the sole of the foot. Supporting yourself with your right hand. You can also, some people reach back and clasp hands. And then rolling back onto your belly. And we'll extend the right arm. Kind of getting to the front of your shoulders, bringing the left foot back. And feeling it in the front of the chest and in the back of the shoulder. Excuse me, a little spinal twist. A little bit. Trying to relax the neck, and then rolling back onto your belly. Excuse me. And then from here, let's try coming up onto hands and knees, and we'll do that same threading the needle thing we did, but this time we'll come down to lie on the arm. So we're coming kind of into the opposite position. Maybe you can bring your opposite arm so that the shoulder's coming into the inner elbow. And breathing into the back of the right shoulder. You'll feel it probably in the front also. We're not trying to pull too hard, so back off if it feels like too much. You can also be up on your knees. We call it pancake pose. Controlling your breath. Breathing into the belly. And then just bring your left hand up to help you push you back up. Coming up to hands and knees this time. We'll lift the left arm and thread the needle and come to lie on the back, on the arm. Maybe bringing your right arm down by your side with your right shoulder kind of tucked into the inner left elbow. Just a couple breaths there. And then using your right hand to support you, untuck your shoulder. Coming back up, let's come to prayer again. So keeping the hips lifted. Kind of rolling those elbows in. So you're widening and broadening in your middle back. And then walk your hands over towards the left, keeping the right hip drawing back. Releasing the forehead to the floor. And then walking hands over towards the right. Keep drawing left hip back. Nice steady breath. And then hands back to center. And back up to hands and knees. Let's draw the right knee forward for pigeon. So setting yourself up. Maybe a little bit of a back bend up on the fingertips. And slowly walking forward, bringing your forearms to the floor. Nice steady breath. And just finding something to focus on with your gaze and letting your breath be guiding you. So if you feel any discomfort where your breath starts to be like you're holding your breath, just backing off, repositioning yourself. And just Just another breath. And then walking the hands back in, we'll lean to the right and swing the back leg around. For a seated twist, so your left foot's going to come onto the opposite side of your right thigh, and you can kind of hold the knee in as you let your left hip drop towards the floor. If you feel stuck here, just straighten the bottom leg. That'll make it easier to bring your sit bone back to the floor. Or you can keep the knee bent, as long as you can sit upright with a long spine with both sit bones grounded. Maybe the right hand comes underneath your left thigh. Just using that for a little leverage as you twist, turning your spine, opening the chest, bringing your left hand back, and breathing. So you're just turning your spine, not leaning forward at all, keeping lengthened, lifted. And then slowly unwinding. You might try stacking the knees. You might even lift your hips. This, of course, can be done with the right leg straight as well. So feeling that stretch in the back of the hips. You might come forward, but doing so with this long neutral spine, keeping the sit bones on the floor. Breathing. And then just leaning back, you could just turn your fingertips back and lift or come to the right foot, bringing the left ankle on top of the right knee. And you might walk your hips in a little closer to the heel. You can kind of rock a little bit side to side. So you're getting a little lift in your heart, a little stretch in the back of the shoulders, feeling it in the outer hip. And then straightening the right leg. And releasing your left leg. We'll just take a little forward bend. And just kind of letting the legs loosen a little. And then we're going to keep the left knee forward and bring the right leg back for pigeon on the other side, starting that whole sequence again on the other side. So the left knee is forward. Coming up onto fingertips and walking yourself forward, maybe to your forearms, and staying with it for a few breaths. So keeping the jaw relaxed and the neck is nice and long, and so you're not dropping the head forward. When you drop your head forward, you'll find that it's quite a bit harder to breathe. So keeping chest open, breathing. Letting your hands, letting your hands relax and spread on the floor so you're not clenching. A few more breaths here. And just walking your hands back in and leaning to the left, swinging your right leg around. Again, kind of draw the knee in and let your right sit bone come back towards the floor as you sit up tall. If that's hard to do, just straighten your left leg. Then we're going to bring the left hand underneath the right thigh, reaching back with the right hand, turning, finding the breath. So it's just a turn of the spine. There's no breaking of that neutral line of your spine. Nice, steady, deep, relaxed breath in your twist. If you feel like your breath is strained, then just back off a little bit. Breathe yourself into the twist rather than forcing yourself with the strength of your arms. And then releasing the twist, stacking the knees. Again, could be that the left leg is straight. And perhaps you're coming forward a bit. The sit bones are staying on the floor and your spine is staying long and neutral. So you're kind of coming forward like with the heart, not with the head. Not wanting to feel any pinching in the front of the hips, so just back off and make a little space if you feel that. Should feel some pretty big stretch in the back of the hip, I would imagine, for most people. And releasing that. Then we'll bring your hands back behind you, just turning your fingertips back, bringing your right ankle on top of your left knee, and then you could walk the hips a little closer to the heel, maybe kind of lifting up in the heart and allowing some movement side to side. Feeling it in the back of the right hip. It's a pretty big stretch. And of course, you can always have your foot further forward and then it's going to feel a little less intense. And then we'll just straighten the left leg, straighten the right leg, coming into your forward bend. So if you can't reach your feet without rounding forward, just bring your hands to the floor. In your Paschimottanasana, your forward, seated forward bend. Nice deep breath. And then bring your hands back in again, just kind of flop your legs around a little, let things relax. And then we'll just come back onto our back and draw the knees in, rocking a little bit from side to side. And then bringing the feet just a little wider than the hips with the knees bent. You could press into the tops of your thighs. Just getting a little traction in your spine. And then arms out to the sides. Your knees can go from side to side in this kind of pleasant movement here. The next time the knees come over towards the left, just let them stay and maybe lift your left ankle up on top of the right knee if that feels safe for your knees. In deer pose, feeling the stretch on the front of the right hip. Starting to let your energy really drop down, relaxing back, letting gravity support you. And then releasing the ankle from the knee, bringing your knees back up and over to the right. Maybe the right ankle on top of left knee. Feeling that stretch, breathing. Nice steady breath here. Letting your energy drop down a bit more towards your final resting pose. And releasing that. And just come into a happy baby pose if you can. Bringing the hands to the soles of the feet. And maybe you're rocking side to side. Like a little baby. And then releasing that, drawing the right knee in towards your chest and taking a twist. Just letting the knee come over, just an easy twist. And rolling back onto your back, extending the right leg, drawing the left knee in. And taking the twist on the other side. Letting your breath be natural, calm, maybe a little shallower. And then rolling back onto your back. You could bring the soles of your feet together, coming into this reclined, bound to angle pose. Maybe the arms up over the head. Taking a couple breaths here. And then extending your legs and arms down by your sides, coming into your final resting pose. We started here tonight, so just allowing yourself to be back in this corpse pose, Shavasana, heavy on the floor. Taking a few breaths, you could close your eyes. Just feeling the effects of gravity on your body and the effects of your practice this evening. Letting your body be really soft and heavy for a few more breaths. Relaxing your jaw and your face. And then to come back up, just walk your feet in, roll onto your side, and come back to your seat for a couple of breaths. So if you need to sit up on a pillow or a cushion, I like to sit on my block. You could do that just in order to find your long, tall spine and your free and deep breathing. So finding your way back and up, lengthening up through the crown of the head, taking some balanced breaths before we close. You might close your eyes, just feeling the breath coming in and out through your nose. Unimpeded, open, your body is receptive to the breath. Feeling heavy in your seat. Just feeling the openness of all of the tubes in your body. Just having moved and squeezed and opened things up a bit. Feeling a little more open and comfortable. Bringing your hands together at your heart and just bowing your head. Being grateful for the path of yoga, for your body, for your own practice, your own inner teacher, your higher self, or your higher power. Namaste, and thank you so much for joining this evening. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening or day if you're watching later. Thank you so much for all of your support of the Hatha Yoga Center. Namaste.